When Ada Obi walked past people now, they laughed. They whispered. Some called her names like Balloon Girl and Beauty Gone Wrong. She would cry on the road. Cry at home. Sometimes she wouldn't eat for days. She locked herself indoors. Until one day, she fell seriously ill. Her body could no longer bear the weight. The smell from her skin became strange, foul, unbearable. With heavy shame and a heart full of regret, Ada Obi returned to the village. Ada Obi was born into a peaceful and loving home. Her mother, Ugochi, was known in the village for her glowing skin, kind heart, and slim figure. Her father, Obina, was a soft-spoken man with gentle eyes and a smile that could calm a storm. He is also known to be very slim. They were the kind of couple people admired, humble, happy, and deeply in love. People also could not help but imagine the stature of their unborn children because of the couple's slim figures. So when Ugochi became pregnant with their first child, the whole village rejoiced and also anticipate to see the physical appearance of the child. Ugochi go born fine Pikino. With her beauty and Obina's charm, the baby go fine well. But Omo, the baby go too slim share. Village women would gossip among themselves. 9 months passed slowly. The day finally came. Ugochi went into labor on a quiet Sunday morning. The skies were clear, and the birds sang gently in the trees. Obina paced back and forth outside the small room, whispering prayers under his breath. God, please protect them. Let them be safe, Obina said anxiously, after hours of pain and sweat. A cry filled the room. A baby girl was born. They named her Ada Obi. But as the midwife cleaned the baby and handed her over, there was silence. Everyone was shocked. She was different. Very, very slim. Very long. Like a newborn who had skipped a few steps in between. This Pekin slim, see as her legs long like broom, the midwife said in a surprised tone. The women in the room exchanged glances. Some chuckled quietly. Others raised their eyebrows, but Ugochi just smiled. She held her daughter close, kissed her forehead, and whispered, You are my Ada Obi, my first daughter. No matter what you look like, you are mine. Obina walked in, looked at his wife and child, and his eyes softened. She is beautiful. She has your eyes and my stubborn forehead, Obina said with an emotional voice. Everyone laughed, but even from that very day, the whispers had started. The comments, the stares, and Ada Obi had only just arrived. As Ada Obi grew, goaded the whispers from the corners of the compound to the women frying akara by the roadside. People always had something to say. Gossiping woman with low voice would say, And now that slim girl be this? The one-way resembled broomstick? She was different. While her age mates were filling out, their bodies rounding up. Faces glowing, Ada Obi just kept getting taller and slimmer. Her arms looked like dry sugarcane sticks. Her legs, long and thin, made her walk with a wobble. The older she got, the more obvious it became, and the more the village talked. At school, it was even worse. Children can be cruel, and Ada Obi knew that better than anyone. Child's mocking voice, Ada Obi, slim fit. Another child laughing. If breeze blow now, she go fly like paper. Our laughter fills the background. She would try to laugh with them. Pretend she wasn't hurt, but deep down, she was breaking. Some days, she would stay behind in class just to avoid walking home with the other children. Other days, she would run straight home, tears already running down her cheeks. She would burst through the door, fall into her mother's arms, and cry, Mama, why do they laugh at me? Why do I look like this? Am I not beautiful too? Her mother, Ugochi, would wipe her tears gently, sit her down, and hold her close. My daughter, don't let their words enter your heart. God does not make mistakes. He made you just the way he wanted. Everyone has their own beauty. Ada Obi, yours is different. And that's okay. But those words, as kind as they were, couldn't stop the pain inside Ada Obi's heart. Because when the world sees you as less, it's hard to see yourself as enough. Still, she held on to her mother's words. Even if they didn't stop the tears, they gave her strength. And strength was something she would need much more of. Few years later, she gained admission into Higher Pride Secondary School. Secondary school was a different world for Ada Obi. She had grown taller, her voice was softer, and her eyes sparkled when she smiled. But her slim frame remained the same. Her mates now wore fitted skirts and walked with confidence. Some were already getting attention from boys, but Ada Obi was still the skinny one. Each passing day, she would eat double portions of food at home. Not because she is hungry, but because she wants to get fat, she will go on Goggle, browse with her phone about what to do and eat to get fat. She does them all. She drank raw eggs, drank lots of milk and multivitamins, but still she remains the same. Until one day, she fell in love. His name was Ebuka, tall, handsome, with a bright smile that could melt stone. He played football like a pro. And when he laughed, Ada Obi's heart would skip a beat. For months, she watched him from a distance, in class, during break after school. She would smile at him, but he never noticed. Her heart grew heavy with hope. One day, she gathered courage. She waited for him behind the school's mango tree after classes. Ebuka, I like you. I've liked you for a long time, Ada Obi said with a shy voice. Ebuka turned to her, surprised. Then he chuckled. Not out of joy, but mockery. You like me? You're sweet, Ada Obi. You're kind and smart, yes. But you're too slim. I don't do slim girls. If only you can get fat, maybe I'll consider. Then he walked away, still laughing. Ada Obi stood there, frozen, her heart shattered into pieces. From that day, something in her changed. She started eating more, extra servings, late-night snacks, heavy meals. She would Google how to get fat fast, foods that make you gain curves, supplements for bigger hips. She drank thick pap with milk. She swallowed raw eggs. She even tried one bitter herbal mixture she saw online, but nothing changed. She remained slim. Then, Ada Obi graduated and got admission into the university. A new chapter began. When she entered the campus gates, her eyes widened. The girls she saw, wow, full figures, smooth skin, designer handbags, makeup on fleek. Girls with confidence, girls who turned heads. Ada Obi felt invisible again, and deep inside her, a voice whispered, "You'll never be enough unless you change." But change was coming, and it would come with a heavy price. Dear wonderful viewers, before we dive back into the story, if you're enjoying this story, please show some love, hit that like button, and tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Yes, you. Because every click, every comment, every subscription keeps this story fire burning. Now, let's return to the story. University life gave Ada Obi a fresh start. She found a corner in the world where nobody knew her story, where she could try again, to belong. Within the first few weeks, she made two good friends, Abel and Grace. The three of them clicked instantly. They ate together, went to lectures together, and even studied together at night. Abel was always cheerful, with his round pot belly that bounced as he walked. He loved to joke and never took life too seriously. Grace, on the other hand, was full-figured, beautifully fat, confident and brutally honest. She walked with grace, dressed well, and didn't let anyone talk her down. They weren't the typical kind of friends Ada Obi imagined she would have. But they were loyal. They defended her against bullies, and most importantly, they made her feel like she mattered. One day after lectures, the three of them sat under a tree near the school cafeteria. The sun was low. The breeze was cool. Ada Obi turned to Grace and sighed deeply. "Grace, I wish I was fat, even just a little like you. Maybe then, boys would notice me." Grace turned sharply and burst into laughter. "Be careful what you wish for, Ada Obi. Do you think being fat is easy? I accepted myself because that's how God created me. It's not the shape that matters. It's how you carry it. Learn to love yourself, girl. God makes no mistakes." But Ada Obi only smiled and shook her head. She wasn't listening. Abel, who had been quietly chewing on his meat pie, wiped his lips and spoke up. "Ada Obi, you don't know how beautiful you are. Honestly, I love your look. You stand out. You're smart, you're kind. Even some guys in our department admire you." Ada Obi laughed, rolled her eyes, and leaned back against the tree. And with a playful, mocking tone, she said, Abel beg. I don't want to attract pot-bellied boys like you, oh. I want tall guys, cute guys. Real men, you understand? Abel looked away. The smile on his face slowly faded. And in that moment, something shifted. Okay then. From now on, I'll mind my business, especially when it comes to your body. Though Abel was hurt, but he remained calm. Ada Obi didn't mean to hurt him. But in chasing a different kind of love, she pushed away the ones who truly cared. And even though Grace kept reminding her, your body is not a mistake. It's a message. Ada Obi wasn't ready to hear it. She had made up her mind. If the world wouldn't accept her the way she was, she would find a way to become what they wanted, even if it meant risking everything. One bright morning, as Ada Obi rushed across the campus walkway, her eyes on her phone, she bumped into someone hard. Startled, she looked up, and what she saw made her freeze. Standing before her was one of the most beautiful girls she had ever seen. Her skin glowed, her body, curvy and perfectly shaped, like a goddess walking on earth. Ada Obi gasped. I'm so sorry, she said quickly, bending down to help pick up the girl's handouts. Then she couldn't help but whisper, You're so beautiful." The girl smiled sweetly. "Thanks, dear," she said. Just then, another girl ran toward them, calling out, "Chisholm, wait for me!" Ada Obi turned, and her jaw dropped again. This second girl was even more curvaceous. Her hips, her chest, her elegance. Ada Obi could barely breathe. "Please," she cried, almost begging. "Please, can you tell me the secret of your beauty? Please." The two girls looked at each other and laughed softly. "Let's talk later," one said, pulling out her phone. "Give us your number. We'll invite you over." Adobe's heart leapt. She exchanged numbers with them, her hands shaking with excitement. As she watched them walk away, she danced on her feet. Giggling like a child, Ada Obi whispered to herself, "Yes, finally, my problem is over." She rushed to tell Grace and Abel about the girls, but they frowned, confused. Grace with a serious tone, "I've never seen anyone like that on this campus." Mouse and Abel added, "Ada Obi, please be careful, oh. Something doesn't feel right." But Ada Obi ignored them. Her mind was already far gone. "I'm at the end of school day." She didn't wait for her friends. She ran home, changed quickly, and headed to the address they sent her. It was a quiet house, almost hidden behind thick shrubs. When she knocked, the two girls welcomed her in with smiles. The inside was richly decorated, but dimly lit. The scent of strange incense filled the air. They offered her a seat and brought out a small black bottle. First girl, "This is the secret. This is what makes us beautiful." Second girl, whispering, "But you must never, ever, tell anyone about it." Ada Obi's eyes widened. They told her to drink 1 spoonful every morning, and in time, her body would transform. Ada Obi said with an excited tone, "How much does it cost?" 200,000 naira. The first girl said. Ada Obi shouted, 200. "What?" She stood up in shock. "Where will I get that kind of money?" The girls only smiled. Think about it, but no delay. No broken promise. Suddenly, a thought crossed her mind. Her school fees? Her dad had promised to send her in 250,000 next week. She could use that. Without thinking twice, Ada Obi told them she would bring the money next week. The girls nodded and handed her the bottle. Her hands trembled as she took it, but her heart was dancing. She imagined the village market women, the classmates who had laughed. She would show them. Night falls. The next morning, Ada Obi took the first spoon. Within minutes, her body felt weak. She couldn't stand properly. She missed her lectures that day. Abel and Grace came to check on her, and Grace asked, "Why didn't you come to class?" Ada Obi replied, lying softly, I'm on my menstrual flow. I just need rest." She couldn't tell them the truth. The girls had warned her. The next day, she forced herself to school, but the dizziness remained. She slept through class. At night, it got worse. Whenever she slept, she found herself in a dark, strange world, filled with girls like her, all crying, all suffering. A terrifying old man stood over them, with a deep, echoing voice. "Your souls are mine now. You sold it for beauty. Now, you must obey." The girls cried. Some were crawling. Some had chains on their necks. Ada Obi woke up, drenched in sweat. Day after day, she kept drinking the substance. Each time, the same nightmare returned. But so did her transformation. Her waist curved. Her hips widened. Her chest lifted. Her face began to glow. By the second week, Ada Obi had become a walking wonder. Men, boys, even women turned to look when she passed. Random man on the street. "Who be this fine girl? God really took his time." Abel and Grace were stunned. "Ada Obi, this is unbelievable. You look different," Abel said, staring at Ada Obi. Grace added, "What happened to you?" Ada Obi only smiled and replied, "It's a miracle. God finally answered my prayers." But only she knew. It wasn't God. It was the black substance in the bottle, and her soul was slowly slipping away. Ada Obi was no longer the girl everyone once knew. Her beauty had drawn attention. Her curves turned heads, and her new body made her feel like a queen. But the more she drank the black substance, the deeper she sank. The nightmares continued. The voice of the old man haunted her sleep. Yet Ada Obi pushed it all aside. She hung out with rich men, who spoiled her with money, gifts, hotel nights, perfumes, wigs, and designer bags. School, she abandoned it. Friends, she ignored their calls. Grace cried. Abel sent messages begging her to return to her senses. But Ada Obi was lost in vanity and shadows. Then it started. She began to grow, not in curves, but in size. Day by day, Ada Obi became fatter and fatter. She stopped drinking the substance, but it was too late. Her body had already been cursed. She tried to starve herself. She exercised from dawn to dusk. Yet, each day she added more flesh. Her once perfect figure ballooned into an uncontrollable size. Desperate, Ada Obi rushed back to the house where she met the girls. But the house? Empty. No trace of them. Not even a single curtain. They were gone, just like her hopes. And then, the men vanished too. They stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped caring. When Ada Obi walked past people now, they laughed. They whispered. Some called her names like Balloon Girl and Beauty Gone Wrong. She would cry on the road, cry at home. Sometimes, she wouldn't eat for days. She locked herself indoors. Until one day, she fell seriously ill. Her body could no longer bear the weight. The smell from her skin became strange, foul, unbearable. With heavy shame and a heart full of regret, Ada Obi returned to the village. But when she arrived, no one recognized her. Not even her parents. She limped forward, breathing heavily, and said, "Mama, Papa, it's me, Ada Obi." Ugochi stepped back in shock. Obina just stared, his mouth open but no words came out. To prove it, Ada Obi turned around and lifted her blouse. She pointed to the birthmark on her back. Ugochi screamed, "Oh, my daughter! What have you done to yourself?" Obina sat on a bench. Still silent, Ada Obi fell to her knees, sobbing. "Mama, Papa, please help me. I'm dying." They rushed her inside. They took her to hospitals, to herbal homes, to native doctors. But nothing could heal her. The smell worsened. The disease grew strange. Villagers started avoiding them. Mothers warned their children, "Never go near that compound. The cursed child lives there." And then the tragedy deepened. While Ada Obi was still in school, before her downfall, foreigners had come to the village. Expatriates. They heard about a slim, beautiful girl called Ada Obi. They wanted her to model for their international brand. They met the village elders. They were ready to sign a contract, process a visa, and take her abroad. But they were told she was in school. So they waited until she returned. But when they saw her, they were horrified. The slim, stunning Ada Obi was now a sick, oversized shadow of herself. They left. No second thoughts, no contract, no modeling, just disappointment. That night, Ada Obi cried until her voice broke. Her parents cried too. The entire compound sank into silence, and the shame was too heavy to bear. One day, news spread around the village. A powerful Reverend Father had come. Miracles were happening in the village square. The sick were getting healed. Crutches dropped. blind eyes opened. Ugochi and Obinna heard the testimonies, and their hearts leapt with hope. "We must take Ada Obi there," they said. The next morning they lifted their daughter and carried her to the village square. But as they entered, the crowd saw them, and panic began. Village women started shouting, "She's here! The cursed one is here! Run!" The entire square scattered. People held their noses. Others climbed fences. Within seconds, only 3 people remained. Ada Obi, her parents, and the Reverend Father. The priest looked at Ada Obi and, without fear, walked toward her. He began to pray. He gave her holy water. Suddenly, Ada Obi let out a loud fart, then screamed. Black substance gushed from her mouth, from her nose, even from her ears. She collapsed. They carried her home to rest. For the first time in many months, she asked for food. She ate. She bathed. The smell reduced. The next day, the Reverend Father visited again. As he prayed, Ada Obi began to roll on the floor. Then a voice came out of her, but it was not hers. It was the voice of an old man, a deep, angry voice. She wanted beauty, and she paid the price. She hated her true self. So I took her soul. My agents, those girls, they serve me. We hunt for girls who desire fake beauty, who reject who they are. They become mine. The priest continued to pray. He poured holy water on Ada Obi. The voice screamed, then faded into the wind. Ada Obi collapsed, silent. She was free. The Reverend Father explained everything to her parents. Ugochi wept. Obinna couldn't stop shaking his head. Ada Obi slowly healed. She began to slim down, but her body was no longer the same. Her skin sagged. Her glow disappeared, but her soul was restored. She would sit outside daily and watch slim girls walk by. She'd sigh and whisper with a soft, regretful voice, "If only I had appreciated myself. If only I had loved me the way I was." But it was too late. Ada Obi sat quietly under the mango tree behind her father's house one day. The wind whispered through the leaves, just like the voice that once haunted her, but now there was peace. She had lost the body she once desired. She had lost the opportunities that once chased her. She had lost the love and admiration that once followed her. But she found something greater. She found herself. She found the strength to forgive herself. She found the courage to face each new day. And most of all, she found the truth. True beauty lives in contentment. Moral lessons for this story. Appreciate your natural self. You are wonderfully made. The world may not see your beauty immediately, but forcing change through unnatural means may cost you everything. Desperation opens doors to danger. When you're desperate to look a certain way or gain something quickly, you become an easy target for dark forces and evil people. Vanity without wisdom destroys. Focusing only on outward appearance while ignoring the soul can lead to deep regret and suffering. Peer pressure is deadly. Mockery from others should not define how you see yourself. Trying to prove a point to others can push you into destruction. There is power in spirituality. Not all problems can be solved by science or beauty routines. Sometimes the root is spiritual and requires divine intervention. Be careful who you trust. Not every beautiful face or friendly smile has good intentions. Some come as friends, but carry missions to destroy. Every action has a price. What you gain quickly and wrongly, you may lose painfully. Be patient and wait for the blessings that come the right way. Second chances come through humility. Ada Obi's healing began the moment she accepted her mistakes and humbled herself before God. My name is Kachi. I hope you have learned one or more lessons from this story. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now. See you in our next video.